contiguous to a like operating structure unless offered under an AGS proposal. Third, if spending per equalized pupil is greater than 20% of the mean spending per equalized pupil of potential merger partners, then the SBE will examine the impact of debt. Fourth, the case where there was a no vote on a 706B merger. Fifth, the district SU was merged within the last, district stroke SU was merged within the last 2 fiscal years and is not a MUD or NMED.
Nice.
That's what we talked about.
Okay, all right. So we had a motion by Mark, correct? Seconded by Peter. And so discussion, John.
The motion is to do what?
Mark, can you clarify?
Accept.
And just with the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. The motion is to accept our work of the day as guiding principles moving forward.
I want to just raise a concern about procedure that we don't want to be in a situation, I think, where we've adopted something and then it cannot be reversed without a formal reconsideration, which has some rules about it. I wonder if we might consider calling this a working understanding from which is, in other words, not binding indefinitely upon us, but only where we stand now, kind of is the idea of it, with the full understanding that in fact, we may wish to use similar language in every step of the way until we get to the very end, at which point then we can sign off on the whole thing kind of irrevocably.
Okay, so I hear an amendment
Yeah.
to call it a working.
Yeah, I would propose that.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Bill.
Can you, I'd like to hear the language again, please. The amendment.
The amendment.
Well,
So John,
I guess I'd have to start by asking Mark to repeat one more time, or the chair to repeat the language as proposed by the maker of the motion.
Move to accept the work of the day, all this, which I'm not going to read, as guiding principles for our work to be done with coming up with our plan.
Maybe I could suggest as a working understanding of our guiding principles.
so you want to
Okay.
amend that to be a
Yes.
working understanding of our principles. Now, is that a friendly amendment, or do we need
Well,
to take a
depends
vote?
on the maker of the motion.
Yeah, sure.
Is that friendly
Yep,
amendment?
with me.
Yes.
Peter?
Okay, so can you repeat back then?
I can't.
You can't?
Move to accept the work of the day as a working document guiding us.
Working understanding?
Working understanding, thank you. Working understanding for our principles to get us to a state plan, to the state plan.
John?
Are we voting on the amendment?
I think, was that just a friendly amendment?
Yeah,
So you just-
It's a friendly amendment. Then, before we vote on the amendment as the motion as amended, I would like to explain my vote in the negative. I'll be opposing this motion because I'm very uncomfortable with the number 4, which is extending import to a no vote on 706B proposals. And my reservations are that in my reading of the law, simply no provisions for us taking that into account in our deliberations on the state plan.
Any other discussions?
I hear John's concern, and I think it's a valid concern, but the language that we're looking at here is clear that we're going to give consideration, but it's not dispositive. And if it were dispositive, I would definitely be join you in your concern, but I feel comfortable, and again, you know, I would stress, and for members of the public, this is really a working document, and the intent, and I really appreciate Mark making the motion that he did today, is to put something out there, to invite comment from the public. We'll have a few weeks, and I think it's really helpful for the process, for people to understand the principles that we're going to attempt to use to apply some sort of a uniform standard for how we're going to apply, how we're going to move forward.
Any other comments? Are people prepared for a vote? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
Nay.
Nay.
Oh, wait, so there are three. I honestly didn't hear properly, and there was more voices, so could we do a roll? Yeah, John?
Can we just,
Show of hands.
Show of hands. Okay, that would be helpful. For all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, say no. Okay, the ayes have it. So we've adopted those as a working principles to be used. All right. So, and thank you. I mean, this is hard work, and I really appreciate everybody's dedication to this. To do this in public, to sit here and to process as a group. We're not one person looking at this plan and coming up with their own principles, but trying to come up with something as a group. And I want to thank everybody.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo, I thought, the amount of respect that we showed one another, and listening and really hearing and revising was, it was nice to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yes, John.
Madam Chair, you're probably going to go on to next steps?
Yes, and consent agendas.
Okay, may I just inquire if we might ask of the agency to do some homework for us? If it would be possible for the agency to go through all of the proposals that meet the test of this understanding, that is, they're all submitted in a timely fashion. That's roughly 43 proposals, I guess. Give us a simple spreadsheet that tells us if any of these conditions, these 5 conditions, are applicable in the instance of each of these secretaries' proposals. I guess there may not be that many secretaries' proposals, but of the number of secretaries' proposals, which of them trigger any of these 5 conditions, with any annotations you might wish to make about that. That would be, just give us, that gives us kind of the lay of the land about where the grappling for the word, the inconceivables live. What's the word, Stacy?
I don't know.
The impracticables.
Right.
That's-
Impracticability.
That would just give us a quick scan of where impracticability may be clustered or reside, and then we'd know to drill
right.
there.
We know there's at least one for every
Right.
benchmark, because that's where we drew them all out.
Bill.
Yes.
Microphone.
Let's clarify what we're doing on the 17th and what we're going to do with the agreed ones.
We are, so just quickly, before, we do have a consent agenda, so let's just follow the rest of the agenda here, because we're getting to the calendar review agenda planning. So I think we're jumping the gun here a little bit, but can we go to the consent agenda, and do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, and
Second.
And seconded, and so the only thing on there are the minutes from September 19th, that was per request of the board, that we didn't want anything else on there, that was just the minutes, that's bare minimum. Any discussion or comments?
Yes, I wish to extend my gratitude and appreciation and acknowledgement for the excellent job that was done in the preparation of these minutes.
And just for the record, I sent them to John to edit beforehand. So
And there was not a,
and
I didn't make a single
About
change.
20 minutes here. So
I made no changes. It was perfect as presented.
and he didn't have any corrections, so that's that actually Julie said. So if we're ready to vote on the consent agenda, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. So we have passed the consent agenda. Moving on to the calendar review, really just the agenda planning for the 17th.